Here's a fly-through list of 20 different ways to promote your next listing that's designed to get you more listings from the neighbors, from your database, and from anybody else in your local marketplace. You know it and I know it. Whenever a neighbor decides to list and sell their property, when it's done, it creates this chain reaction, this domino effect of intent where other folks on the sidelines say, hey, well, if they did it, we can do it too. And they then decide to list their homes for sale. But the question is, are you positioned to be that listing agent of choice? And that could be the product of your marketing. Are you on every prospective seller's radar? Today's video is going to put you on literally every homeowner's radar so that when the time comes to decide to list their properties for sale, they will have a very difficult time failing to remember you because you are the agent who worked harder than anybody else to get the best possible terms and the widest possible exposure for that neighbor's property, so they should hire you for their property too. This is a game plan of 20 different marketing techniques designed to promote your listing in a way that benefits the seller but also benefits you because it showcases just how committed you truly are to bringing about the best results for your clients, therefore positioning you to win every potential listing in your marketplace. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss any of these 20 steps to get your listings more exposure. Welcome to This Week in Marketing. My name is Jason Pantana. I'm your host, and I am so glad you're watching today. If you're new to the channel, it would be awesome if you could take just a moment to subscribe. It's good for our growth of our channel so we can get more content like this to you on a regular basis. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a little bell icon that if you tap it, it turns on notifications. So whenever we publish new videos, just like this one, that are loaded with action-packed marketing techniques, you're the first to know about it and therefore the first to take action on the different ideas herein. So without further ado, let's dive into today's topic, which is a review, a flyover of 20 different actionable marketing techniques to promote your listings in a way that helps you leverage that listing to get more listings. Let's dive in. Now, a quick little disclaimer, public service announcement before I dive into the list, that this list of 20 different listing leverage techniques is in no specific order. We'll be jumping around from digital to traditional to some sweat equity to check equity. It's going to be a mixed bag, so make sure you stay tuned for the entire video. Kicking off the list, let's talk about postcards and mailers. These could be door hangers or postcards, but the best agents are doing just listed, just sold postcards. If you had to pick one, I'd say pick just sold because the proof is there. But the idea of leveraging a listing means tell the neighbors what you got going on. Send out postcards to the neighbors when it's listed and when it's sold. I would recommend at least 100 homes, but it could be several adjacent streets. It depends upon where you do business. If you're in sort of a vertical living area, that could be different as well. It could be the building, but you want the neighbors to know who's doing the job, who's getting the listings sold. Case in point, one of our rock star coaching clients, Dwayne Carpenter, who's the co-leader of the Carpenter Kessel team down in Florida, they're going to sell about 600 homes or more this year. They crush it. And one of their dominating strategies for generating more listings is, you guessed it, just listed, just sold postcards, because at a certain point, every neighbor's like, we can't help but notice that this team is getting the job done. And thus they've earned the business of every neighbor, or nearly every neighbor. They have massive market share in their community. So it's simple, just listed, just sold postcards. If you're thinking, well, postcards are expensive, you could look at it through the lens of so many other advertisers have stopped sending out mail for that same reason, that consumers' mailboxes are far less crowded than their feeds, than their inboxes. If you're like one of our coaching clients and rockstar coaches, Eileen Rivera, who's also been a guest on this show before, she does these amazing case study testimonial pieces that go out to all the neighbors in her geographic farm area. So whenever she lists and sells a property, it's her version of a just sold mailer, but it's the case study. It tells the story of the home from the client's point of view, and it showcases how she did it and the way in which she is so personally involved with her clients. That's Coach Eileen Rivera, and that's another mechanism for generating awareness for you as a listing agent. If you're not leveraging physical mail for your marketing, I think you should look at that in 2024, and specifically, I think you should look closely at how are you leveraging your listings. We know one of the best ways to get more listings is to leverage the listings you have. And so my advice is get to work. on leveraging your listings. Now, number 3 on the list is to live stream walk the neighborhood. One of our coaching clients and coaches, Sean Ryan, has historically done this, and it's done really well for him, whereby he'll grab his phone, he'll get on Facebook or Instagram Live, wherever you're the most connected with your community, whichever social platform it is, and he'll live stream walking the neighborhood, promoting his newest listing, saying, hey, I'm in such and such area, promoting my newest listing, and if you're in this market, and he will go live for a series of minutes, and here's what's powerful about it. It's a couple of different mechanisms. One, he's walking, and because he's in motion and he's moving, people are willing to watch for longer when he's live, and also because the AI-enabled algorithms of Facebook and Instagram are becoming so much better able to recognize keywords. When he starts talking about where he is in proximity, it begins to understand his location and who his content is relevant for, so it actually starts to get promoted in the feeds as suggested content to people who don't necessarily know who he is, as he talks about this hyper-local listing opportunity that may be ideal for a buyer. And finally, he'll talk for a long series of minutes. And because he's going for a long period of time, he gives the algorithm time to go to work for him. And while he's live and while the video is the most interesting, it can promote the fact that Sean Ryan is live with his listing. You might consider doing a live stream walk to promote your next listing. Hey, speaking of marketing, are you looking to massively up your game on social through SEO with your Google business profile, your email marketing strategies? If you are, then make sure to check out Marketing Pro. It's a series of online courses led by me with on-screen step-by-step tutorials to walk you through the ins and outs of social media, your Google business profile, of email marketing, so that here we are going into 2024, you can have a marketing plan that is designed to help you attract listings, win business, and get the job done at the highest level. Click the link in the description for all the details. 4th on the list, and this is a cool sweat equity technique that was created by Coach Christy Jinks. She talked about it on an episode almost a year ago on this show, whereby you're hosting an open house, and let's say the open house is not the busiest in terms of guests trafficking through the property. You take your time anyways, and you do CMAs for the neighbors on the left and the neighbors on the right, and then when you leave for the day, before you go home, you door knock those neighbors and you hand deliver to them comps, a comparative market analysis for their property, and explain, hey, I was hosting the open house next door and I had some extra time while I was there and thought you may be interested to see what your home is worth in today's marketplace. If you have any questions, please let me know. This is simply a courtesy, and so she recommends hand delivering those CMAs to the neighbors on the left and the right of the open house. And once again, you are showing those homeowners just how hard you are working in the marketplace, because guess what? Sellers want to work with hard-working listing agents because you know what's working? Working, so do the work. Number 5 is to leverage those text for info types of signs that can be put on as writers or QR code signs with your yard signage for your listings. One of our rockstar coaching clients, Matt Curtis, who runs and operates Matt Curtis Real Estate, the #1 team in all of Alabama, is crushing it with sign calls right now. Now, he's working with a cool little company called Call Action to get the numbers and to manage this, facilitating into his CRM. He uses Follow Up Boss, and they are crushing it with sign calls of prospective interested parties in the area, but they're also finding out that, hey, a lot of these buyers have listings to sell in order to buy. And once again, it showcases to all the neighbors how hardworking Matt Curtis is, how innovative he is in terms of looking to procure buyers for that listing. You might look into those text for info types of services. Number 6 on the list is mega open houses, and Tom has talked about mega open houses again and again and again because they are a staple of your business. A mega open house means mega promotion, mega everything. Everything is bigger. Everything is better and grander. If you're not leveraging open houses to promote your listings, to make a splash and an impact in your communities, you're missing a mega opportunity. Now, one piece of the promotion in particular that you cannot skip out on is the directional pointer signs. I respect that your area may have ordinances against signs or something like that, but let's assume it doesn't for a moment. You gotta leverage the branded open house signs because it's a lot of exposure for, well, your brand. Because whenever you have a listing in the area, let's say you put out 20 or 30 signs, everybody who lives in the area is going to assume, wow, this person has every listing you could possibly imagine, and it creates this idea of social proof and authority that you are the dominant listing agent in the area. So those branded directional signs really help to reinforce that. But what I'm really thinking about is what Dave Archuleta does. One of our rockstar coaching clients out in Rancho Mission Viejo, California, we interviewed him on this show and he talked about his strategy for events and open houses. Dave does multiple open houses himself every weekend, and every Saturday he is out there himself in the hot sun putting up directional signs, 20 to 30 branded directional signs per open house. And he makes it his priority that he does it because he will wave and smile at every person who passes by. Whether they're in a vehicle or they're walking by, he'll smile and wave like he's the mayor of the town because it always comes back full circle. When he gets invited to go on a listing presentation, invariably the homeowner will always say, "Hey Dave, we're going to go with you because we don't see anybody else out there in the hot sun busting it like you. And we admire the hustle. And we want to work with an agent who's going to work that hard to get our home sold." And so it's almost self-fulfilling. Like he puts out the signs, he does the open houses, he gets more listings to do more open houses that put out more signs. And the circle goes round and round and round and his business continues to snowball. You got to leverage open houses. 7th on the list is you have to invite the right people to your open houses. It isn't just about getting buyers in the open house. Yes, do all the promotion, the MLS on Zillow, put the ads out in the emails, all those types of things to get people at your open houses, but also you need to invite the neighbors to your open houses. Now, one of the scripts our coaching clients love is when they invite the neighbors to the open house, they let them know we're inviting all the other neighbors to the property because we want to make every buyer who comes on site feel like the open house is really, really busy and really well attended. That will create a sense of urgency to make a better, stronger offer. And for every dollar we sell this house over list price, we're improving your home's equity. So help us help you make more money in your own property value. That's kind of the vibe of the script that a lot of our clients use when inviting neighbors. But the idea is invite the right people, invite the neighbors. Also invite your database contacts. We have coaching clients who use ringless voicemails, for instance, to say, "Hey, the open house is 123 Banana Street. It's going to be from 2 to 4 this Sunday. We're having tacos and carnitas and whatever. Come hang out and have fun." And what's powerful about that idea is when you invite your database contacts and they actually come to your open houses, you are in a way conditioning them to support your business, which will then pay dividends in terms of referrals and keeping you top of mind. You gotta leverage open houses and you have to invite the right people, the neighbors, your database contacts, all the above. Leverage the open house. Number 8, I'd be remiss if we weren't talking about social media. You should be sharing posts and content and documenting your listings on social media. That includes Facebook, Instagram, et al., all the different social networks. And I'm talking about in your stories. I'm talking about reels. I'm talking about quick hyperlapse style property walkthroughs. I'm talking about fun photos and carousels and anything and everything in terms of different ways to promote your listing. Now, one idea I want to give you when it comes to social media is the notion that you can only have one post to promote a listing is, to me, that limits you. Your creativity shouldn't be limited to that. You can have numerous posts to promote the same listing. It doesn't have to be this static, "Hey, this is 123 Banana Street for sale." It doesn't have to be like that. You have the opportunity to showcase something unique about a property, to document what's happening at the property, to talk about the open house. I would implore you and encourage you to get creative in terms of how you leverage social to promote your listings through videos, through stories, through posts, and more. 9th on the list is to explore different products that a lot of these third-party search portals like Zillow have. Their new listing showcase service, which is exclusive, but I would encourage you to look at what are the top portals in your market, Zillow and others, that the consumer is on, and what are the opportunities to gain some unfair market exposure for your listing. 10th on the list is to use the Nextdoor app. You can promote your listings to the neighbors on the Nextdoor app, and you can even use a tool like ChatGPT to craft the kind of language for the copy that would talk about how a lot of times it's through neighbors that buyers find a property that they weren't aware of because they want to be proximate to their friends, their family. So help find the next buyer for this home because there's a good chance you already know them. 11th on the list is to feature the listing inside of your email newsletter, which means, hey, you should be sending out a weekly email newsletter. It should be a digest of your content. It should love on your community and showcase what's happening locally, and it should feature your listings. If you're not leveraging email, you are missing out on, in my opinion, a huge marketing channel that needs your attention. Now, one caveat to mention here is this is not an email blast. While I'm okay with you sending an email blast, maybe to other realtors in the area, for instance, this isn't an email blast. A lot of folks have this struggle with, I don't want to just blast my listings to my database contacts because maybe they're not looking for that listing. That may seem a bit tone deaf, and you're right, it might seem a bit tone deaf. However, the idea of nesting your listings into a value-packed newsletter is an entirely different story. And in fact, that can create a layer of social proof that, oh wow, my agent is really informative and useful and they care about the community. This newsletter is so fantastic. And look, there's their featured listings. I want to be one of those sellers one day when I decide to list my property because look how hard they're working and what a good job they do to market their listings. Good agent is what they think, and it creates the right kind of consideration for your services. 12 on the list is a super fun idea that comes from Coach Will Draper. He calls it a 24/7 virtual open house. And the idea is pretty straightforward and simple. You run an ad on Facebook or Instagram that's running 24/7, always promoting and driving traffic to a 24/7 virtual open house, which is simply a landing page that features your listing, and it includes different assets. It includes maybe a 3D property tour, a video of you talking about the listing, some photos, some descriptions, a form fill for someone to raise their hand and maybe schedule a showing, different details like that, maybe even a mortgage calculator. What does it look like for you to put together a cool web page with all the right specs and details and drive traffic to it all the time? Of anybody who's looking for a property just like that, it's called a 24/7 virtual open house. Number 13 is not going to take me long to mention. It's to leverage platforms, classified platforms like Craigslist, like Facebook Marketplace. Put your listing on those platforms and see who inquires. Leave no stone unturned to promote your next listing. Number 14 is a must. It's to run ads on Meta. That's Facebook and Instagram. Could be ads in the story feed, in the main feed, all the above. Could be video ads, could be static kind of carousel ads, could be lead form ads where there's a form fill on the app itself, or it could be traffic ads whereby you send them to your website to collect people's contact info there. All the above. My advice to you is to run these ads for a couple of different reasons. One, we know historically from a lead generating standpoint, the ad that generates the most leads ever is historically just listed. Because when that property is newly listed to the marketplace, it has the most interest amongst consumers possible, which means you can get more hand raisers, more contacts that you can then follow up with, try to book showings for, see if they have a property to sell themselves. It's a great lead generation tool. The other reason is because the cost per view and impression on Meta, specifically targeting your local marketplace, the consumers in your area, is cheap. It's cheap to get the views, it's cheap to get the clicks, and when you show the stats in terms of how much exposure you've created for your seller's listing, they're gonna look at you and say, you're a marketing machine. You should leverage promoting the listing through Meta ads, if for no other reason than to showcase to your seller how hard you work to get the job done. But there are other reasons too. It can help you get the property sold, so get to work. Number 15 on the list is to optimize your listing's web page for SEO. That means putting the address of the property in the actual title of the page, putting geotagged images on the page, having really good copy that's got all the right keywords because you used ChatGPT to help you craft it on the page, embed the Matterport tour, embed the video, embed all the details about getting a mortgage, etc. in that landing page so that it is fully optimized from a search engine optimization standpoint. So that way, whenever somebody Googles the address of the property, it's likely that your listings page will rank pretty high, but probably not as high as Zillow or Redfin or platforms like that, unless you also run what's called a Google Dynamic Search Ad. A Google Dynamic Search Ad is a Google search ad where instead of feeding Google the keywords you want your ad to rank on, you feed it the page itself and let it find the keywords in the page. And since you put the address of the property in the title, it's most likely going to grab those keywords so that whenever somebody Googles 123 Banana Street, it will automatically in real time dynamically generate a search ad that will put your listing even above Zillow or Redfin or other search portals like that. So you need to leverage SEO and putting a little money behind that search so that when anybody ever searches for the address of your property, your page ranks and they're like, oh my goodness, this agent doesn't miss a beat. Number 16 on the list is an obvious and easy and mission critical important step in terms of leveraging your listing, and that is to ask your seller for a review. Get that review on Google from your seller because it's money, it's magic. We know that traditionally buyers, from a Google standpoint, tend to search for houses, and sellers are much more likely to search for the best agent in your area. And because that's a seller intent search, it's super critical that you have seller stories, testimonials in the reviews so that as they search and read your reviews, they're like, oh wow, there's a seller, there's a seller, there's a seller. They all love this agent. They were incredibly happy with the services. You know what? I'm gonna hire them too. They call you and it's basically a come list me call. You gotta leverage your Google business profile, and your reviews are the ticket to getting found and discovered by more prospective sellers. So make sure every one of your sellers leaves you a review on Google. Number 17 is simply a reminder that you need to get all the different assets together so you can, in one concerted effort, really market your listing properly. So that might mean getting a 3D tour with a tool like Matterport. It means don't go light on the photos. Don't take your own photos to save money unless you're a pro. Hire the pro to get the right photos because they sell homes. Get the right listing video. Make sure to get drone videography that showcases the area of your listing. Get all the digital assets you need so that you can leverage from a marketing standpoint your listing to the maximum. Number 18 is an easy one. Ask the homeowner if they'll talk about the listing on their own socials, on Instagram, on Facebook. Promote it and say like, hey, we're selling our house. If there's anybody that you know who might be thinking about it or interested in it, please let us know and we'll get them in touch with our agent. Make sure to leverage the actual network of the homeowners. Number 19 is to leverage any local publications. If there's like a gazette or a local journal or some kind of an online or offline publication or a press release opportunity where you know eyeballs and attention go, leverage those. Now, it depends upon what kind of a listing. If it's a luxury listing and it's a luxury journal, obviously that's a good fit. But I'm encouraging you, if there's a local publication that gets visibility for listings, be there. And last but not least, number 20 on the list is to take advantage of YouTube in-stream ads. These are the commercials that play before, during, and after a video that you're trying to watch on YouTube, and they are completely undertapped, underutilized, and they have a low cost per view. You should take advantage of YouTube commercials. And my advice is, in that video, let's say you're planning to target homeowners who are in the respective area, and let's say the area is called Highland Park. Now, when you shoot that video, let's pretend, for instance, that you're going to target with the YouTube ad neighbors in the proximate area, for instance. Well, you're going to want to name the area because that's going to be a pattern interrupt. That's going to really capture any viewer who fits that description's attention. So, for example, the video might say, hey, Highland Park homeowners, I'm at my newest listing, your neighbor's property, 123 Banana Street. And just in the simple act of saying that, they're gonna be like, I'm a Highland Park homeowner, for instance, and that's gonna capture their attention in that first 5 seconds before they skip the ad so they can see more details about that respective property. There are other approaches you could take because YouTube, owned by Google, has a whole lot of targeting capabilities. You can target people who are looking for real estate agents. You can target people who are in market to buy properties. You can target local homeowners. You can target in a variety of ways. And so theoretically, you could create lots of different YouTube ads, different videos for different audiences, and then target those audiences in your local marketplace. And I got to tell you, whenever people run YouTube ads, whenever my coaching clients run YouTube ads, everybody always talks about them. It's like having been seen on TV 20 years ago when that was so newfangled and interesting to people. You know it and I know it. One of the best ways to get more listings is to use the listings you've got. So when you get a listing, use it for everything it's worth. It only benefits the seller, it benefits you, it benefits your marketplace. There's no loser in the equation where you go to town in terms of marketing your next listing. So market your face off to generate more listings. Now, this was a list of 20 different techniques and tactics for marketing a listing. There are more, and I'd love to hear from you what those are. So what are you doing? Additionally to the 20 we talked about here, to market and expose your properties to the masses, and also to create consideration for you as a listing agent. Put it in the comments and make sure to check those comments because there could be a whole bunch more buried nuggets right in the comments thread. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, this is This Week in Marketing.